Kudlow, this is troubling for Biden. That's right. Okay, this should do it. This will settle it. Yeah. Give me the old show. Explain to us how today's jobs numbers suck.
Oh, yeah. Well, Fox News alert on the economy. Employers adding 216,000 jobs in December, up from the 170.
That's a pretty green fucking screen there.
5,000
Don't make me put an Epstein picture in that on you folks.
that
Make you regret not having bad numbers.
economists expected. The jobless rate remains at 3.7%. Let's bring in Larry Kudrow, host of...
Yes. By the way, which is still fucking fantastic. There is no oh no in 3.7% unemployment.
Kudrow on business, and I imagine, Larry, that you'll just have the White House say,
I'm just going to do what I do.
look at these numbers. These numbers are great, and they think the...
Also, why are you wearing two collared shirts? What is happening? What is this?
American people don't understand how great the economy is. What are they getting wrong?
Well, if I were they, I would too. But actually, under the hood, it's a rather soft number. It's a complicated number, by the way.
It's complicated. There's a lot of people doing a lot of jobs I would never do. You wouldn't do them. This is a sad story because some of these people, they're making more money doing these jobs, but these are service jobs. These are jobs that are manual labor. These require an education, stuff that you and I would be paying for.
I'm going to bore you with a lot of statistics.
Please do.
There was a big downward revision. This is the second of the last 3 months. The payroll survey was up 216. You're quite right. But the household survey, which is for what you get the unemployment rate from, that thing was down 700,000 or almost 676,000.
It's the same. It's the same fucking number. It's not down. It leveled out. It was unchanged.
And the labor force shrunk by an enormous amount.
Yeah, look at these people. They don't even realize that this woman doesn't even work here. She's been replaced by AI. You know, all she does is pour water now. They just let her do it out of habit. I don't know what the fuck these two people are going to pay their meal. So, pay for their meal with, or to whomp them.
Participation rates fell. The employment to population rate fell. And almost all the jobs after...
Because we're almost at max employment.
The downward revision, which was 71,000, so it's 216 minus 71, call it 250, call it 170,000. Again, as we've seen in recent months, it's all government, leisure, and health care.
Leisure. Fucking leisure.
You don't see anything much in manufacturing. In fact, manufacturing's been flat for over a year.
Excuse me one moment, won't you? Hi there. Let's see, is this, it's a year ago. 2 days ago, there you go. This is what's KSL? Well, look at it, let's see. Jobs report, the payrolls, let's see, most recent business stories. Supplier deliveries, Institute for Supply Management reported that its manufacturing PMI increased to 47.4 after being unchanged at 46.7 for 2 straight months. It's 14 consecutive months that the PMI stayed below 50, which indicates a contraction in manufacturing, the longest such stretch since August 2002. The anticipated, by 0.7%. Okay, this is the numbers on this guy right here. So, hold on. The anticipated December job gain would be below the average monthly rise of 240,000 over the prior 12 months, but well above the roughly 100,000 needed per month to keep up with growth in the working age population. So you only need to add 100,000 jobs to keep up with the number of people entering the workforce. The unemployment rate is forecast to edge up to 3.8 from 3.7 in November. Didn't happen. News on manufacturing, which has been bruised by higher borrowing costs, remains downbeat. And that's why it's the interest rates on this part of it, not because goods are necessarily, there's no demand for goods. That's when you're fucked on manufacturing, is when there's no demand for goods. There's demand, but they just don't, this in particular is because they borrow money to do it, especially for new manufacturing plants, because it's very cash intensive. Institute for Supply Management reported Wednesday that its manufacturing PMI decreased to 47.4 in December after being unchanged at 46.7 for 2 straight months. It was the 14th consecutive month that the PMI stayed below 50, which indicates a contraction in manufacturing, the longest such stretch since August 2000, January 2002 period. The survey's forward-looking news order sub-index fell to 47.1 last month from 48.3 in November. Production at factories rebounded, with the sub-index coming to 50.3 coming in at 50.3 from 48.5 in November, which I guess would pump it up above the 50% mark. Thanks so much, Loretta, for the super chat. I haven't even talked about super chats and all that kind of stuff today. That's how into the show I've been. Okay. Yeah, so back to this dickhead. Manufacturing is flat. So we're not losing manufacturing jobs, and we're building manufacturing plants. Good luck.
So it's actually, you'll see the stock market coming back and the bond market coming back. It's not near as strong a number, and a lot of the analysts are saying it's a rather soft number.
Larry,
a lot of the analysts? You mean you?
Watching your colleagues,
I got all that out.
I was watching your colleagues on Fox Business when it came out. You're right. Participation went down, not a good sign.
It leveled out. People entered, and then some people left. Fucking hell. Hold on. U.S. manufacturing growth outpaces. Oh, yes. There you go. This is it. That says March 7th. I think they mean January 7th, but here we go. Difference between U.S. and global year-over-year manufacturing growth. Here's 2020. Everything takes a giant shit. In comes Joe Biden around here. Bing! The big picture. The reason for the surprising flip-flop are primarily energy and COVID-related, according to Atlantic Council Geoeconomics Center. Production of renewable energy equipment saw a big uptick in the U.S. last year, and oil exports soared too. Domestic production of medical equipment like masks, gloves, and pharmaceuticals grew. Meanwhile, China's manufacturing growth was muted because of its zero-COVID policies. While the rest of the world grew a little, the U.S. surged, the Atlantic Council wrote. The chart shows the difference between the U.S. and the world, excluding the U.S. industrial production year-over-year percentage change. The Atlantic Council calculations are based on data from the Federal Reserve Bank of Dallas. But one potential tailwind is an Inflation Reduction Act's massive incentives for clean energy productions haven't even kicked in yet. Yeah, so that's a tailwind. So that's going to lift it once this stuff kicks in. That's next year. That's part of these like 56,000 government jobs that he's talking about. That's what they mean.
And of the government jobs, when you add 52,000.
Yeah, it's infrastructure.
Right? That's part of the big number here. What does that say about the private sector, Larry?
That the private sector hired more than 2/3 of the people that got hired in 1 month. And end of year on a new budgetary year, people will get hired in government positions and in government projects.
Well, the private sector's pretty much been flat. That's one of the themes.
Private sector's pretty much been flat. So it's not collapsing. I see. So okay, the growth is on government jobs, and the private sector is just humming along, doing its thing. Cool. I thought we were in hell.
Of this year, I'll have to look, Bill, when I get catch a breath, and I'll look at the 12-month changes for all of 2023. But I think what you're going to see is the leader it will either be government jobs or leisure jobs. There's nothing wrong with leisure jobs. It's just that it shows post-COVID consumer spending with a lot of credit card borrowing thrown in, and healthcare jobs or health services or social services.
Hold the fucking phone. No, it doesn't. The assumption on leisure isn't that it shows credit card buying. Just because you put fucking a vacation on your credit card doesn't mean you're leveraging to pay your fucking bills on your credit card. You're spreading your vacation or whatever leisure shit you're doing on your credit card over time, because that's how a lot of people do it. Trump lives off fucking debt. He's a fucking genius, but the average American uses their Costco fucking account to, Jesus Christ. Hold on, let's go to this. See, jobs official site, government records. That's 50. That's not. I went. There you go. In what area? There you go. Trying to. This is AOL. Okay, so it doesn't say. There you go. Main Street, Wall Street, Main Street can celebrate. Well, okay, 173,000. Bureau of Labor Statistics figure exceeded Wall Street's forecast. Quick to celebrate. Bernstein argued the jobs report is good news for both Wall Street and Main Street, despite fears from many investors the hot labor market would boost inflation. That's the big thing that everybody's worried about. The Dow Jones Industrial ended up Friday just up 0.07%. Yeah, it was continued up, whatever the shit. In December, healthcare, the job growth in the care industry, 55,000 per month, 2023. Social assistance rose. December construction employment continued to trend up, 17,000 in construction. Employment in leisure and hospitality. Transportation went up as well. Retail trade employment, December. I'm trying to look at showed a little change. December hourly wages for the workers. Non-farm payroll in October was revised. In October was revised down 45, 150 to 105. Where government, I'm trying to look for the government numbers. I'll have to look it up. Anybody who could find that detail on there, like the area where the 56,000, because they're acting like they all went to work as clerks. That's the clarity I'm looking for.
Which are the?
It'll take some study. I'll find it for radio tomorrow because we'll be talking about the jobs number tomorrow.
Near cousin to government job. So, to summarize.
The what? Wait.
And healthcare jobs or health services or social services, which are the near cousin to government job.
Why? Because they are more focused on the service they give than the profit they make?
So,
what an asshole.
Summarize, I mean, private sector manufacturing has
private sector manufacturing, as opposed to public manufacturing, of which we have none,
has pretty much been soft or flat.
Soft or flat? You mean unchanging?
For the entire year.
Right, because you pretty much are at capacity.
So that's not a good thing.
Well, are they not finding workers?
Is that what the Fed wants?
You've got to distinguish. Well, it's not what anybody wants. I mean, you're not really producing. We produce to consume. You're not.
No, we don't.
Really producing, and that is a problem. I don't think anybody likes that, and I think that, frankly, has something to do with subsidized spending and also very heavy.
Like what? Subsidized on fucking what?
Regulations. So, look. The best thing, if I were Biden, and he doesn't call me, by the way, just to clarify, but if I were he
calls you something, I'm sure.
The number I would tout, average hourly earnings were up 0.4.
That might point out to why the continued raise in hourly earnings points to why you don't have to have both heads of household working.
And they're up about 4% for the year. And that is above the inflation rate. For the past couple of months.
Right.
So that's a good thing.
Yeah. And if you pretend COVID didn't happen, it looks terrible. But if you recognize COVID happened, it's a fucking miracle that we're in that position.
The trouble for Mr. Biden is, going back for the 3 years of his presidency,
coming out of Trump's shit-the-bed economics and COVID,
there's an affordability problem.
Because of supply chains?
In other words, middle-class wages, adjusted for inflation, have fallen. They've fallen by about $20 or roughly 5%. That's a long stretch for a...
No, they have not. No. Household wealth dropping because the government subsidies ended is not the fucking same thing. This part drives me crazy, too, because these assholes look at the fact, they're like, Biden's just throwing government money. They're just printing money. Money printer go burr. They're just throwing money out stuff, and that's why we have inflation. It's Volckerism 205 or whatever the fuck. No. Period. Once government subsidies stopped happening, when people stopped getting their $1,000 or $2,000 checks or what have you, once that ended, That wasn't meant to be permanent. So on the metrics, people had less money coming in, but the money was artificially coming in. So once it goes away, it's back to normal. They didn't lose it by 2018 numbers or 2019 numbers or any fucking number. They just lost the subsidy. That's like saying I lost half I got a job that was that pays me a little bit less than my unemployment, and therefore my wages are down because I'm working instead of getting unemployment.
Decline in real wages. And the middle class.
No, it isn't. Because, this is them not solving for X. This is this motherfucker trying to pretend that COVID didn't happen.
And the lower incomes have suffered. I call it the affordability crisis.
You mean the thing you didn't give a fuck about when you were in office?
Even though inflation has cooled, and that's a good thing.
Yep, but we're in a terrible recession, obviously, because they did it too quickly. And
prices are still way above where they were 3 years ago.
Everything is different than it was 3 years ago. We were in COVID.
All right. CPI, for example, is up 17%.
Nobody was buying anything. Everybody was staying home.
Groceries up 20%, that sort of thing.
Demand.
So
all demand. People want it, or they wouldn't pay for it. The price would go down. There aren't that many more people in fucking America. I don't care. You can only eat so many fucking eggs. You can only eat so many fucking steaks. You can only consume so many calories. So the idea that food was going up simply because Americans had too much money is bullshit.
These job numbers, you have to look at it in that context. You can't look at them in isolation. I think you'll see a Wall Street consensus. I want to be very fair here. That the payroll number, that the top line number that Dana mentioned, is a little misleading because of the downward revisions.
No, it didn't. It just fucking evened out. It's normal. This is all fucking normal. The idea that this whipsaw is even making fucking news in a normal period in American history, we don't even be talking about the fucking jobs reports at this point. Compared at 3.7, Jesus Christ, we have bigger fish to fry. The problem is these assholes have to explain why Biden hasn't crashed the economy. And they fucking can't.
Point number one. Point number two, the household number, which is small business, has been falling substantially of late. I mean, it's over nearly 700,000 decline. And number
That's because people are going back to work. That's why it's a steady unemployment number, you fuck. People who are working from home are having to shit, I'm just trying to make some money, like me live streaming or doing fucking Etsy or hustle economy or fucking driving an Uber, all that shit that they did during the pandemic to just try and make ends meet to protect themselves. They don't have to do that shit anymore. So now they're getting a regular job. So their small business stuff went away because they went and worked for a bigger company with fucking bennies.
three, this is a softer number than the headline would suggest.
Yes, I would argue the same thing is true about your intellectual capacity. It is a softer number than your headline would suggest.
I don't know if that makes any sense.
No, it doesn't. And the fact that you don't know if it makes any sense is the fucking problem. Why would you be a go-to person if A, you can't explain what's going on clearly enough that you understand it? What the shit?
It does. It does. And those revisions
No, it doesn't.
are important. Good context. Larry Kudrow.
Good context is great. Thank you for helping us polish Trump's turds again.
Thank you and Happy New Year.
Thank you, Larry.
Thank you, Larry. I still don't understand. Confused and sad.
I'm Steve Doocy.
Oh God! And just when you thought things couldn't get dumber. All right, I gotta go. I gotta prep for tomorrow, and now I gotta go on the hunt for more of these the statistics behind the number, just so I can be a dick and dunk on them even more.